Hi, I'm Jay Abraham. I grow businesses for a living. I do it all over the world. I've done it uh, with over 1,000 different industries, not businesses. I do it by working on optimizing the revenue system. I have given birth probably to 50 different well-known methodologies, the three ways to grow a business model, the strategy of preeminence, the 9 drivers of exponential profit explosion, the power Parthenon, sunk cost marketing, rules for relevancy, a lot of things like that. And I love to help entrepreneurs of all sizes, shapes, and locales to make whatever they're doing produce more yield for them so they can reach and contribute to more people. So many years ago, I was impacted by a company I worked with, and they were 3 times larger than their closest competitor. They were 5 times more profitable. They had, I think, I can't remember the metric, 3 or 4 times more LTV, lifetime value per transaction. And their team members were far more passionate, collaborative, unified. And I wanted to know what exactly was the driver of that. So I did an exchange. I traded approximately $500,000 of my services for the privilege to spend an intensive week learning what they're all about, their mindset, their methodology, their philosophies, ideologies. And I took 1,000 pages of notes, distilled it, and identified the key drivers. And I put it into a thesis that I ultimately called the strategy of preeminence. It takes about 3 hours to explain it in its fullness, but the key is this. One is you want your business or yourself, if you're a single practitioner, to be seen in the eyes of your market as the only viable solution they could turn to, the most trusted advisor for life. In order to do that, you have to be able to be seen as not generic, as not a commodity. You have to say, look, you're not being told the full truth. There's a different approach. There's a better way. There's a higher yield we can get you, and here's why. You have to be able to put into words literally what the subconscious of your target audience is trying to get either closer to or away from in words that have never been shared before, so it'll immediately resonate, galvanize, and bond you. You have to change your focus and no longer be obsessed with your business or your industry being the fastest growing, the biggest. You want to fall in love not with that, but with the clients you serve. You have to call them clients, not customers, because if you look at the Webster's dictionary definition of a customer, it's somebody who buys a commodity or a service. If I call you a customer, I'm saying I'm nothing different than anyone else. I'm just lucky as heck that you buy from me and not someone else because there's no advantage. A client, on the other hand, is defined as somebody under the care, the protection, the well-being of another. When you are preeminent, you have a moral responsibility, an obligation, a privilege, and the responsibility to not let somebody buy less than they should or more than they should, but on the less side, in less quantity, quality, frequency than they should, to give them the best outcome. Not because you want to make the most money. And if you know your company serves them better, protects them better, enriches them better, value contributes better, you have the responsibility to not let them buy from somebody who doesn't. And definitely, if you know they need it, not procrastinate and equivocate. And it drives a lot of things. That's the essence in a nutshell. Well, I mean, the key to everything is operating in the highest stratas of integrity, of ethos, of trust, of authenticity. And you have to understand a couple of really key denominators. I don't have them off the top of my head, but everybody would benefit by reading a book called The Speed of Trust. The Speed of Trust is a landmark book written by Stephen M.R. Covey, the son, of Stephen R. Covey, the person who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Business, or People, The Stephen M.R. wrote this book, The Speed of Trust, and he analyzed, identified, distilled, and proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that companies, people, entrepreneurs, leaders, salespeople who master trust building at the seminal level, and there's 13 factors or characteristics he identified, including basically do what you say, but he has all these categories that we think we are good at, but when you question them, when you evaluate them, we usually aren't. But he's found that people who operate in all 13 gradients have a 300% measurable increase. Sales, collaboration of their team, speed of closure of a sale, longevity of the relationship. So it's very powerful, but that's one thing. The second is you have a moral obligation to tell people the truth, but tell them the truth in a way that's going to really not just inform them, but educate them. Show them why they should do something, why they shouldn't. Show them the cost of where they are now doing nothing, the cost of not doing something in the future, the benefit, and you have this moral obligation. Authenticity is something very few people know how to do. Part of it, frankly, is based on vulnerability. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. And anyone who tells you, I do everything right, I've got 9 million cars and I got a mansion and 12 million young girlfriends and everything I touch is gold is BS. We all are flawed human beings. The imperfection is part of, the human condition. So when you're willing to be a bit vulnerable, you gain great stature and great credibility to people. Credibility is, first of all, it is achieved by listening, by understanding that every human being is having a different reality than you. Even words that I use, you use, anybody watching uses, they are not defined and they don't conjure up the same meaning in people's, because they're all based on other people's experiences. You have Rich Schefren in this video. He and I, about 10 years ago, did a 6-hour session online teaching people all about the fact that value is very different for different people. What I think is valuable, you may not. What you think, I may not. If I'm not clear-cut on your definition of value, doesn't matter what I give, doesn't matter if it's the most valuable thing I can. If you discount it or if it isn't impactfully relevant to your objective, I have missed the mark. So there's all these things that integrate into this. And the first is, if you don't understand your market, you can't resonate with them. So I was taught that the first thing you have to do before you start marketing is examine, evaluate, understand, appreciate, acknowledge, and respect how the target audiences that you are going after see life. Because if you don't appreciate their reality, you can't really connect with them. This also, by the way, goes to your team members, goes to your vendors. You have to realize that everybody has relevancy, importance, significance, dignity, and if you don't recognize and respect it, you can't get optimum results. Optimum results as far as your marketing, optimum results as far as your team performance, optimum results as far as all those people you depend on favoring you over everybody else that they serve. So it's very important, and it's very liberating. I'm going back, obviously, to, not obviously, I'm going back to the strategy of preeminence. When you live this, it is the most liberating thing in the world because it becomes the foundation of your business philosophy. It becomes the framework of your marketing. It becomes all your selling approach. It becomes what you're known for, and it just elevates you to a stature that is positively intoxicating.